Hello again, this is Preheat. Welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. I'm just making a quick update for you because I was in the middle of making my Arcane guide and then Blizzard dropped some patch notes. So these are coming in on Tuesday with the weekly reset, or Wednesday if you're EU. Basically how this is going to go down is Blizzard has nerfed the potency of the tier bonus, and they've given you like a small compensation buff to somewhat make up for the damage loss. Obviously it doesn't quite equal out, but so the 2-piece bonus used to give you like 1 extra missile and 20% increased damage with your missiles. Now it's only 5% increased damage. And then on the 4-piece side of things, the buff to cumulative power, which is gained whenever you missile, stacks 8 times. This is now 3% instead of 5%. Used to be a 40% damage increase. And so I went ahead and did some overrides. Well, first I did napkin math, and then I confirmed it with the overrides. But yeah, so this is like segmented. So as you can see, the 4-piece nerf alone, which is just a cumulative power nerf, that's 2.7% nerf. The 2-piece nerf alone, which is just the missiles, is a much bigger nerf, 4.7 in total. And so if you have just the nerfs accounted for, that's 7.4%. But obviously, we also have to include the 3% buff. So that's how we end up with the actual nerf, which is 4.7% in single target. In AoE, this nerf is not as bad. It's about a 2.5% nerf in AoE. So here I've kind of got some profiles set up so you can see the effect. So this is before the nerf, right? We have Sun Fury single target at 225k, AoE is 2k below that, and then we have like a 7.9% gap between those two. This is the new number. So as you can see, the gap is a bit smaller, 7.1% between Sun Fury single target and Spellslinger. But obviously it's not a huge difference, right? Spellslinger is still probably worse. In general, this nerf hits AoE less than it hits single target because the single target nerf is 4.7, like I said, and then the AoE nerf is around like 2.5, 2.6% nerf. So overall, this doesn't really change much, I don't think, in the scope of like what mages will play. I think what it changes is like how many mages you might want to run in your raid comp, unless there's like a very good reason to maybe run 2 arcane mages. So for instance, if you're on a boss that has like ads that spawn, maybe there's 2 ads on 2 different sides and they both need to be focused down, and it just so happens to line up with arcane cooldowns, or they can hold their cooldowns for that. Running a second arcane mage for that is probably really good. Arcane is still very good at doing like cleave damage. That's kind of its niche, right? So single target, nothing to really write home about now that they did these changes. Still probably the best of the mage specs, but fire is close. And you know, we have to look at this in terms of like mage specs, not overall. Overall, mage is probably not exceptional, really. I think it's still probably fine damage in Mythic Plus. Obviously, the AoE nerf is smaller, like I mentioned, right? So if you're looking at a nerf of just like 2.5% damage, that is not quite as bad. So kind of ignore the bottom ones on these because I don't have good numbers for Frost. But just like in general, right? So like if we're looking at AoE, right? Arcane is still just like way better in AoE, and Sun Fury is still going to be better than Spellslinger. But yeah, so this is like 5 targets. If we look at 2 target though, as you can see here, Arcane is, oh wait, no, this is not the right one. I believe it's this one. Yeah, so Frost is still going to be better at 2 targets. So I think like literally nothing has changed in terms of like the relative meta between mage as a whole. Like you'll still probably play Frost on those 2 target cleave fights, which is kind of what people are already predicting. You'll probably play Arcane on those big AoE fights. In Mythic Plus, you'll probably play Arcane. And then single target, it's kind of a toss-up. Like Arcane and Fire are very close, but there aren't really any single target bosses in the raid. Like everything has like some cleave component, so likely the choice is going to be between Arcane and Frost. Essentially what this did is it kind of like cut off the top end of where the tuning was to somewhat even things out, but realistically though, the gap still remains like quite large. So if you look here, this is single target. Again, ignore the Frost ones because those aren't up to date, but the Fire profile is fine. So as you can see here, like in single target, this is before, no, this is post nerf. This is good. This is up to date. So yeah, Sun Fury, Fire, and Arcane very close in single target. But as soon as you add a second target in that, Fire is just going to get rinsed. So anyways, that's my update. I think if you're looking to play Arcane Mage in Mythic Plus, and you were just like already going to do that, you aren't like a Fodden reroller, I think this probably changes nothing for you. I think you still probably play Arcane. You're still probably going to do like pretty decent damage. It seems like it's going to be like a pretty decent spec in raid as well, but probably not a spec where it's so good that you like bring more than one. It's probably not so good in Mythic Plus that it ends up being like meta. But obviously gauging the Mythic Plus meta is kind of hard because it depends on the entire comp, not just a mage. There's a lot more moving pieces, a lot more at play here. I could see Mythic Plus being more like a, you know, kind of a fork where it's like you go like a melee cleave or you go like a range comp. If you are going the range comp angle, Arcane will probably still do just fine. But again, I don't think it's going to be like so overpowered like people were saying where it's going to be like the Fodom, right? You probably don't have like Fodom rerollers. Still sticking with it. So anyways, that's my take for now. I'll update you as things, you know, develop. But again, I do have an Arcane video that I was like working on right now. I was going to try to get out tonight, but this kind of delayed it. Hopefully this update gives you better information so you can better plan for the tier. But anyways, that's going to be it for today. So thank you all for watching, and hopefully I see you in the next one.